I'll start us off.
Cool.
All right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to you all. My name is Gloria. I'm part of the Getcoin team. I'm here with David from Algorand, and we'll be doing an overview of the greenhouse hacks and a couple of the different track previews that are going to be happening during this hackathon. Before we get started, I just wanted to let you know that the session's being recorded. So if you want to go to our Getcoin Media channel, you'll see a playlist for greenhouse hacks that has this session, and it'll have every session during this hackathon there, so you can watch them all later if you need to. If you do have questions, drop them in the chat or in the Q&A, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can drop them in the chat there, and we'll make sure that your question gets answered. And last but not least, as always, let us know where you're watching from and what you're working on. It's a great way for us to get to know y'all, and a good way for y'all to get to know each other. With that, I'll hand it over to David, and we can get started.
Thank you, Gloria. Yeah, it's great to be here, kicking this off. We are putting forward a Greenhouse Hackathon series, the Algorand blockchain and the Algorand Foundation, and this is the first hack in this series. So we are super excited to be getting this underway. The hack itself starts next Monday, July 18th, and we have a little bit of a timeline here that we'd like to show you and talk you through some of the pre-programming events, the hack duration. We'll touch on our voting a little bit. There'll be a community voting element, and we'll have some judges from the Algorand Foundation as well, looking at the projects submitted. And then once we have gone through that, we will go through the different tracks that we're going to be looking at for these bounties, the bounty tracks. So can you share that, Gloria, please, if you have it handy?
Yep, I'm going to bring it up right now.
Amazing. So yeah, it's the first thing on it is this session, so we can speak that without seeing it, because you guys are on it or you're watching it retrospectively. So that's the July 11th session, which is now, and as I discussed, we're just going to have a look at this timeline and touch on the different bounty tracks. Tomorrow we have an ideation session and team matchmaking. So team matchmaking is obviously super important because it gives you guys the opportunity to see who else is working on this, to touch base with them, discuss ideas, and then form teams. So that's going to be a super important session. So important, we've actually duplicated it. So that will also take place on July 14th. And together with that second team formation or team matchmaking session, we're going to have a bounty preview. So that's where we're going to go into a little more detail on the different bounties that are being posted. We're going to elaborate on our partners, and some of those are super exciting from our point of view, and we can't wait to see what you guys come up with and come back with once you see them and start hacking. In between then is July 13th. So that's a small brief session again on the learning resources available. So that's just to help you guys, help the programmers, the developers, to access learning materials, whether it be from our developer portal, where you can go in and search for a specific learning resource that you need, whether it be NFTs, smart contract related, multi-sig, etc., whatever that might be. And then we also will point to the Algorand Academy, which is a kind of a collation of materials for different developers coming in at different levels, so that they can access a suite of learning resources that is suitable for them. So we will go through that in more detail on July 13th. July 15th then, we will have one of our DevRels, Joe Polney, exceptional man, knows a whole heap of stuff, a super talented programmer, and he will go through kind of how Algorand works. So he'll touch on the protocol, the different languages that you can use to develop and to write programs, and how you can either compile them or sync them up with the base layer. And on the 16th, which is the last of our pre-programming events, JP from Reach is going to do a workshop on the architecture of a Reach app, and he's going to focus in He's going to use an auction app as an example as to how to build using Reach. So Reach is a more JavaScript centric programming language or capability that can then compile down onto the Algorand PyTeal base layer. So as we said then, we're going to kick off the hack on July 18th. Registration will remain open beyond the hack commencement. So if you guys are seeing this late, if there's anyone picking up on this video and you still want to get involved, please by all means go to our website, see the links, register, get involved. We'd love you to join. And if you feel like you're under any time pressure, if you have any questions, of course, you can reach out to us and we'll try and get you up to speed as quickly as possible. The next one I think is pretty important, and I think it's a pretty awesome thing. Joe Palmney, again, that DevRel I mentioned earlier, he's going to make himself available every Wednesday for the duration of the hack. And he's going to do a one-on-one office hours session. So we will have Calendly links available for you guys to jump on a session with Joe, book in a bit of time with him, go through your problems, how to get started. You've done 2 weeks of work. How do you get to the next bit? How do you plug in? Where are the APIs? Where are the repos, etc.? So he will be on hand for you guys and any questions you may have for the duration of the hack. And then I suppose we're going to fast forward really to the project submission deadline, which is on the 22nd of August, which will be followed by community voting for 4 days. So we're going to ask you guys to assess each other's projects. We encourage everyone to submit a short demo video with your project submission, so that will help to that end. And of course, everyone's going to be going through each other's codes and looking at it and seeing kind of who they're impressed with, other than themselves or other than yourselves. We'll then have four judges from the Algorand Foundation that are going to assess the projects then after the community voting session. They will take another week or so, I think we've allowed for after that. So just in case there are any ties or anything that kind of falls out after that, we're going to have a look at the projects. Our four judges who are very competent in the areas of NFTs, DeFi, and gaming in particular, and Web3 in general, make up the fourth of our ecosystem leads that will be our judges for this event. And I suppose that maybe leads us on nicely to discussing those tracks in a little more detail. But just to round out on the timeline, we do want to announce the winners by the 7th of September, so 5 days after judging ends. And then we're committed to making sure that the payments for any winners are paid out a week after that again. We understand that you guys are keen, you're spending a lot of time on this, you want feedback. It's something that we want to ensure that happens quite promptly once the event is finished. So yeah, we'll maybe come back a little bit to the different tracks. So DeFi is, I think across blockchain in general, is probably the most developed vertical, if we could call it that, in the space. There are a ton of exceptional products out there in DeFi. And we will be definitely setting some quite interesting DeFi challenges and bounty hacks for you guys to have a look at and to work on. Gaming is a little trickier. It's definitely something that we're looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with. There's more of an opportunity maybe to invent something that hasn't been done before, to come up with something or a novel approach towards solving a given issue. So yeah, we're looking forward to that and seeing what you guys input in that track. And similarly for the NFTs, we're in the process of coming up with a couple of really good bounties. We're just streamlining them, one or two at the moment, and there may even be an overlap on one or two of those with the NFT and gaming tracks. So yeah, look, exciting times. As I said, happy to have this underway. And very much looking forward now to everybody registering. This is, of course, a call to action. So please do follow the links. You can register via the Algorand Foundation website. You can just follow the developers and then Greenhouse Hacks navigations. And, of course, via Gitcoin as well, as Gloria said, follow the Greenhouse Hacks.
Yeah, I think, thank you so much, David. The Algorand team put a lot of thought into how to best support developers throughout this whole hackathon. One thing to note is like this hackathon is like the first of four, so there will be more hackathons with Algorand after this one. But we just wanted to make sure that all the developers were very greatly empowered to do like their best throughout the hackathon. So I think with all the pre-work sessions, the workshops that will happen during the hackathon, and the office hours, there's a lot of resources for you to be creative and create something, but feel fully supported as you're creating it. So thank you to the Algorand team for
Yeah.
setting up such a good structure.
Yeah, sure. And so I think that number of four might be taken away. This will hopefully be something that we're going to continue going forward.
Yeah.
This series. And yeah, maybe to touch a little bit more on our thinking behind the greenhouse. It's definitely somewhere where we want to nurture developers to bring them in, as you said, to make these resources available to them, to help them grow, to continue the greenhouse analogy, and to really strengthen their capabilities and of course our ecosystem. And yeah, to bring the exciting projects that we will see as a result of this, I've no doubt. It's probably a good opportunity to make clear that we will have accelerator programs and grants programs available to high potential projects or developers that are that are thinking about what they do, that lay out their work well, that write really good code and build really cool things. So there's an opportunity here to get involved, not just in the hackathon, but for there to be life after this in the projects you're working on as well, for sure.
Awesome. Thank you, David.
Yeah.
One other thing to note is that right now we're giving you a pretty high level overview of the tracks, but on Thursday we'll be doing a little bit more of a deep dive into the actual bounties from our sponsors during this time. And so you'll get a more insight into the bounties that will be available during the hackathon specifically.
I know you're looking forward to that one specifically, Gloria, aren't you? You can't wait to unveil. A couple of them are really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I think that the overview is great, and like there's a lot of developers that can like see what their passions are, but when the bounties specifically come up is probably my favorite part. So
yeah,
I'm pretty excited.
And look, just to re-emphasize that team formation, that team matchmaking facility that Gitcoin are going to provide, and the sessions that are going to be on that, please do get part in that. Please do take part in that. It's definitely a worthwhile exercise, and to team up with people that you can complement each other's skill sets, etc.
Yeah. So when you're going through the onboarding process on the Getcoin page, there is part that is a team formation form that you can fill out. Even right now, you don't have to wait for tomorrow's session, but it's a great time for you to be able to kind of highlight your experiences and what you're thinking about. And then in our team formation session tomorrow, we'll be going up with different ideas, talking about people who either have a team and just need someone else to join, different ideas that they might have, or people that are also looking for teams as well. So you can join the team formation session tomorrow and on Thursday when we have it. But if not, you can always fill out the team formation form and start to connect with each other if you see an idea that you have that you want to join in on, or if you want to like pitch an idea, that's a good spot to do it as well. Awesome. Well, that is kind of it for the overview. If you have any questions, feel free to ask it in the chat or the Q&A. But I'm also happy to give back time if you need it.
Yeah, sounds good. And we'll pick up on any questions. As I said, if you are watching this after the fact, we will pick up on questions. We'll keep a look at them coming in and make sure to answer them and get back to you guys.
Yeah. And if you have questions after the fact that you want to ask the Algorand team, feel free to do that in the Discord. So as you onboard, there is part of the process where you're going to be going and joining the Algorand Discord. And I would highly suggest to go ahead and join it and ask your questions there. They are very responsive. And this is just a comment. I'm going to actually show it on stage real quick. It just says, there are plenty of videos on YouTube about programming and Solidity when the tutors are going through very basic coding. So can you find such videos about Algorand's app smart contracts? Any plans on creating something similar from the team? So I think David, do you have like talks or learning resources?
Yes, there are YouTube series, video series available that address programming in PyTeal. So starting from the start and going through. Also the Algorand Academy app, or the Algorand Academy website that I mentioned. That's broken down into beginners, intermediate, and advanced. So you can go in there and access material that is relevant to the level that you're at. If you've a bit of Solidity experience, you might be able to jump beyond the basics thereof. But yeah, certainly there's plenty of content out there. I would suggest for this listener maybe to see if you can find the Algorand PyTeal video series. I'll have a look at that and I'll post it in the description as well. And also the Algorand Academy website.
And this would probably be a good place to plug that on the 13th, we'll be going over learning resources in the Algorand ecosystem. So I'm sure that you'll get much more insights as to things that would be helpful doing there.
Yeah. And maybe just one other resource to throw out there is Reach. So Algo Hub are partners in Australia. And they have an excellent course on PyTeal for developers. So if you go to the Algo Hub website, you can navigate to the developers tab, and they have a course there. They've got 3 very interesting ones. One for PyTeal, one for developing in Reach, and then for developers. And then they have a Reach course proper, if you like. Which is also very informative. So Algo Hub would be another great starting point to answer you there, Astro M.
David, I'm going to ask if you
Sorry,
have
Algo Hub, ALGOHUB.
All right, cool. Yeah, I was just gonna say, if you find the link, if you could please drop it in the chat, that would be helpful. Okay. There we go. Perfect. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, with that, I think we're going to say last call for any other questions. I'm going to take this link real quick and put it in the YouTube one as well so that...
Is this the registration link, Gloria?
No, this is the link for the Algo Hub. I can put the registration link on there as well. But let me get
for Algo Hub. Okay, and could you maybe put the link in for registration via Gitcoin?
Yes.
Please.
So I just dropped the link to register via Getcoin as well. And you can always go to the hackathon /greenhouse /onboard. And when you do go through registration, again, you'll see the links for the Discord there and the team formation there as well.
And I've just put up our link from the Algorand Foundation website to our Greenhouse Hackathon series. As I said, this is the first in the series, so we're delighted to have it underway. So yeah, big call to action. Tell your friends, get involved.
Yeah, for sure. Wonderful. With that, I don't have any other questions, and there's no other questions on the YouTube channel as well. So David, I would just say thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Gloria, as always, pleasure.
Yeah, and we'll see you, of course, in a couple of days. Tomorrow, join us again for the team formation session that will be happening, and the ideation session too.
And that's the same time tomorrow, right? 9 a.m. Eastern Standard.
Yep, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard. I believe it's happening, though, on Discord tomorrow. It won't be happening here, but you should get a calendar invite. If you sign up for the hackathon, you'll get a calendar invite, and it'll have in the location, it'll have where we'll be talking for sure. So,
yeah. And the other thing that if as and when you do register for the hackathons, we'll send you an information pack with information on all the different Discord channels, all the learning resources, links to all of these videos as we record them, as we go through the pre-programming sessions. So if you do miss any of them, we will get those to you once you guys register before the event. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All the links to the sessions will be, the recordings to these sessions will be on the onboarding page specifically. So you'll be able to go back and watch those, and also on the playlist on YouTube. So you'll be able to watch those as well.
Excellent.
Awesome. Well, if you all don't have any questions, we'll just say thank you so much, David, for going through this overview. I think it was super helpful. I'm really excited to get this hackathon started, as you can tell. And I'm hoping that this pre-programming helps you all in the long run too. And I'll see you tomorrow for our team ideation session and for your team matching session and your ideation session.
Cool.
All right.
I'll see you all Wednesday for more on the learning resources.
Yes, for sure. All right, great.
Thanks very much, Gloria.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.